we're at the end of January, which means we're coming down the home stretch of the regular season. So a lot of basketball to discuss. Plus, we talked to one of the top high school sports fans in the area, and I try my hand at predictions again next on Varsity Voice presented by SFBN. Catholic League and the team that everybody's talking about. One final thought. Let's get a big, bold prediction. Welcome to another edition of Varsity Voice presented by SFBN. I'm your host, Ari Bluestein, and Frankie. We're somewhat at the midway point, coming down the stretch here in basketball season, and I wanted to start in the Catholic League. And, you know, Roman Catholic, the Cahillites, they were the odds-on favorite in the preseason, but they've been struggling a little bit this year. Talk about that.
Yeah, they were the favorite. Preseason, they had a #1 ranking in the Catholic League after beating Newman Goretti in the championship. They also had a top 10 national ranking as well. You know, they had a rematch with Newman, and they fell short. You know, they were hoping that transfer Lamar Stevens would be able to give them that extra push, but not so much.
Yeah, and they also had some interesting wins where they had to beat LaSalle in overtime and had a close call with Ryan on their home court. So, yeah, I don't really know what's going on with Roman, but they've got to figure it out pretty soon. You know, another team in the Catholic League that has surprisingly struggled a little bit has been Archbishop Wood. What's going on with the Vikings?
They have a good amount of league losses this year. Senior point guard Tommy Funk is really looking to push forward and bring them to the win against LaSalle and to start to make an early playoff run.
Yeah, you mentioned that game against LaSalle. That'll be our SFBN game of the week on Friday at 7 p.m., so make sure you check that one out. Should really be a great game. Ryan McTamaney, really good player for LaSalle. Now, another league that's very competitive is the Interac.
Right.
Only 6 teams, but very tight at the top. What's going on in the Interac this year?
Okay, so we have Episcopal, Malvern, and Germantown Academy. The three of them are fighting for the top spot. You know, Episcopal versus Malvern, that was a great game, very high energy, very intense. The competition, you know, it was there. Episcopal, Nick Alakakos, he scored his 1,000th point that game, which was very exciting.
Yeah, it really was. And, you know, GA, Germantown Academy in the mix as well. You know, some other teams like Penn Charter, they've had a couple of big wins this year. So should be very interesting down the stretch. Should be a lot of really close games like that one we saw on SFBN and the Interac coming down the stretch. Now, going into the suburbs, in the Chessmont, you know, we've talked about Downingtown West and Coatesville a lot here on the show, and they remain, you know, the top 2 teams in the Chessmont at this point.
Yeah, I agree. They're definitely the top 2 teams right now. You know, Downingtown West is being led by 1,000-point scorers duo. They have Ryan Bentley and Josh Warren. Dom Guerrero is also playing a big factor in that offense as well.
Yeah, and nobody has really been able to beat those 2 teams except obviously against each other when Downingtown West won at Coatesville, and that'll be another game on SFBN coming up on February 2nd at Downingtown West, the rematch between those 2. So that should be a really entertaining game. Now, in Suburban 1, a lot of really good teams as well. You know, you talk about Penridge, Plymouth Whitemarsh, Cheltenham having a great year. But, you know, the Abington Ghosts, they've really made some noise this year as a very young team.
Yeah, they really have. You know, they beat Pennsbury by 20, and I think that matchup, you know, really opened up people's eyes to let them know that they're here and they're here to play. Freshman forward Eric Dixon is really making an impression on that team as well. Yeah, the Ghosts having a great year after losing a lot of really good players last year. And you mentioned Pennsbury. They're struggling a little bit at this point, but they're still a pretty good team. And you know what? When we return, we're going to talk to the Pennsbury superfan himself next on Varsity Voice, presented by SFBN.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
Bucksmont Indoor Sports Center is the area's largest indoor sports and event center with over 78,000 square feet of playing and expo surface. We offer year-round programs for toddlers to teens, as well as an extensive adult league program in a variety of sports. Celebrate your birthday with an unforgettable party. Choose from Nerf Turf Tag, Bubble Soccer, or a variety of activities for a party everyone will be talking about. Bucksmont is the first and only facility in the area to offer Bubble Ball Soccer, See if you have what it takes to beat the bubble. Visit our facility, conveniently located in Hatfield, PA. For the love of the game, it's Bluestein Indoor Sports Center.
I got the personal attention I needed. I had a lot of options when I graduated, and as far as I'm concerned, this is my dream job.
Ryder prepared me for my NBA career, and I also got the education that I need for life after basketball.
I had 6 teaching internships while I was at Ryder, and right after graduation, I started a career that I love.
Are you ready for prom? Well, SFBN is. We have partnered up with several local businesses to offer our high school viewers discounts on major prom-related purchases. Clark's Premier Limousine for transportation, the Men's and Boys Store for tux rentals, LB's Cuts for men's haircuts, In Good Hands Salon for hair and nails, and Dress Up Time for prom dresses. Go to www.sfbnprom.com to receive your promo code today.
Welcome back to Varsity Voice presented by SFBN. SFBN stands for the Sports Fan Base Network. We're all about the fans. They are meant to support and inspire. And nobody does that better than the Pennsbury superfan himself, David Schilling. I had a chance to talk to him and one of the players that he inspires. We're here in Levittown with Luke Snyder, star running back and linebacker for Pennsbury, and the Pennsbury superfan, David Schilling. Guys, thanks for joining us on the show today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
So, David, you are the Pennsbury superfan for football and basketball. How did you become such a big Pennsbury fan?
Just the players and organizations and how they rally around me and how they get emotional, give me an inspiration to keep coming out, and they really respond to my criticism and my joy to the game. So I think I do a good job with that.
So they inspire you to come out, and he inspires you guys, right, before the game?
Yeah.
Talk about that.
We just feed off David's energy. You know, he's great to have in the game. You know, we always looked at him to pump us up or give us that extra energy, and we really thank Dave for doing that. So it's cool.
So you know that they give you an inspiration, but you inspire them to play. So
Yeah.
talk about how important that is to you.
How important is that to me is it really reaches my heart, because when you see that means they know that they're ready to play football. That means they're ready to give 100% just for me.
So then when you guys do something like winning the district title that you did in 2014, how great was that he was celebrating with you? Just talk about how that felt to be able to celebrate.
It just brought us to another level. You know, everyone rallied around him. He was all pumped up, and it was just really cool to see just the smile on his face and just experience that whole thing. So it's cool.
And Galen Snyder, your dad, was the coach. How was it playing under your dad as the coach? But now he's retiring.
Yeah, he brought out the best in me. You know, I want to be the player I am today. Just seeing like when he played with his grit and his emotional attributes, you know, I tried to mirror that, and I think I did a pretty good job, and so on and so forth with college. So we'll see.
And talk about your relationship with Coach Snyder.
I want to say this one time. He's the organization that keeps this thing going, and to see him leave is emotional, but at the same time, it always has to go. And people want to criticize a high school coach, but you don't know how many hours he puts in. And this team really opened a couple eyes this year. We overexceeded our expectations, so we had a great year this year.
We didn't have Charlie Snorway, which was, you know, he's a great player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talk about your relationship, yours and your dad's relationship with David over the years.
Oh yeah, it's just awesome to see David just come out and support. You know, my dad always sees him before the game. David's always giving him a comment and say, "Hey, do this or do that." My dad said, "We'll see." But we stick it to the motto, ground and pound. David likes that. And it's really cool, you know, to just see.
It's been working for about 12 years. Yeah.
I don't think any other team really runs the wing team, but we do it.
Yeah.
David likes it, so.
Well, as long as you like it, I guess that's all that matters, right? Now, in addition to Pennsbury, you're a big sports fan, right?
Yes. And basketball, we had a lot of up and down this year, but it's about the youth and the experience. Like, we have a couple of juniors that are
They're
good.
really hungry, yeah.
And that really helps out us, because when you get them up as seniors, they're gonna improve their game, and they really have to expand their game. So
you go to every Pennsbury basketball game also?
Yes.
In addition to the football games?
Yes.
That's great.
And sometimes I will get upset. Sometimes I like it, but that's just how I am as a person. If I see something I don't like, it's not that pretty. So I don't know.
Now, what you want to stay in the sports world? You want to have a career in there? What is your dream job?
My dream job is to interview with a bunch of people about radio stations, get my feet wet, and interview with processing, writing, journalism, everything.
What do you think, Luke? You think he's got a career in the sports world?
Oh, for sure. He's a maniac with sports. He's always talking about, Yankees, Panthers, all this stuff, all of his favorite teams. So it's really cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, Luke, best of luck to you at Kutztown. And are you going to be following him to Kutztown?
Hopefully, yeah.
You better.
Hopefully, yeah.
Well, best of luck to you to Kutztown. David, best of luck to you, and thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much to the Schilling family for opening up their house to us. We hope that we can be as dedicated to our endeavors as David is to his. Next up, Pop Quiz. Sports Fan Base Network, this area's leader in high school sports broadcasting, is continually bringing you the most in-depth coverage. Join us for Varsity Voice every other Wednesday at 6 p.m. on TCN, where we'll have interviews with players, coaches, writers, and more, plus analysis, highlights, and in-depth features on major topics in the Delaware Valley high school sports community. Tune in every other Wednesday at 6 p.m. on TCN for the best high school sports show around, Varsity Voice, presented by SFBN. Pop Quiz is brought to you by Gear Up, a federally funded program designed to increase the number of students who are prepared to enter and succeed in post-secondary education. Gear Up provides early college awareness and academic support to students beginning no later than 7th grade, following them through high school graduation. For more information, go to www.philasd.org. Welcome back. It's time for the Pop Quiz, and we bring back one of our favorite students, Aaron Ace Carter from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Ace, thanks for coming back on.
Thanks for having me.
So we had you on for a football Pop Quiz, so now it's time for basketball. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's get it done.
All right, so it's time for the Pop Quiz. True or false, we're starting the Public League. Imhotep will run away with the Public League championship.
True or false? I'm going to go with false. I think that Imhotep is definitely the best team. They're the most talented team in the public league for sure, top to bottom. Probably about 5 or 6 kids that can play Division I basketball. But what I tell everyone all the time is that we're dealing with 15 to 18-year-old kids, and you just never know.
Right.
Confidence is a really big thing, and I think in the pub, you look at a team like Constitution or Del Val. I think Del Val is suited well offensively to be able to stick with Imhotep's firepower. So we'll see what happens down the stretch.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going with true. I just think Imhotep by far is the best team in the pub. And, Del Val Charter and Constitution may give them a run, but, Imhotep just recently dominated King. It was just a blowout. So I think the Panthers are going to easily win the Public League championship. So while we disagree on that, we agree that Imhotep is the favorite in the pub. So that leads me to my next question, true or false. Imhotep will win the 3A city championship.
I'm going to go with false. And coming out of the Catholic League in 3A, you have Newman Gretty and Archbishop Carroll. And both teams are playing really well. Probably 1 and 2 in terms of top teams in the city, either one. And either one, they both match up well with a team like Imhotep. Newman Gretty has a lot of firepower offensively. So does Carroll. Carroll's playing the best team basketball that I've seen so far this season. So I think one of those 2 teams can definitely challenge Imhotep. And I think one of those 2 teams will win the city title.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to say false. I think ultimately one of those 2 teams, Newman Gretty or Carroll, will beat Imhotep, but that is going to be a heck of a game in late February. All right, so let's get into the Catholic League. Now, we didn't mention Roman. They've kind of had a strange season after everybody picked them as the favorite defending champions. So The main reason Roman Catholic is struggling right now is blank.
I think it's a lack of perimeter shooting, consistent perimeter shooting. You look at that team, a lot of teams are playing zone against them. You have two guys, Nazir Bostic and DeAndre Vilmar, who aren't knockdown shooters from the outside, but they excel at driving the basketball to the paint. And Tony Carr also, he's a streaky outside shooter, but can definitely get to the rack. You look at what teams do, they compress the lane, they put a lot of bodies in the paint, so there's not a lot of room to maneuver in there, which makes it difficult for Lamar Stevens to dominate inside, which he has still been doing. So I think if Roman can find some consistent outside shooting, I think that they'll be ready to roll come playoffs.
Interesting that you bring up Lamar Stevens, because my answer is actually going to be lack of chemistry. You know, Stevens is the new guy to the bunch who won the Catholic League Championship last year with all those guys you mentioned, and maybe him being there maybe just changes up what Roman had going. So I'm going with lack of chemistry, but whatever it is, Roman needs to turn it around. They need to do it quickly. All right. Staying in the Catholic League, we have our SFBN Game of the Week coming up on Friday. So who will win that game? A, LaSalle. B, Archbishop Wood.
I'm going to go with LaSalle here, and I think the reason is just because they're such a disciplined team, and defensively they're really strong. It's a really strong team. They struggle to score sometimes, but defensively, for me personally, anytime a team is really strong on the defensive end, you're always in the game, and then it just comes down to the end of the game, executing a play offensively, and I think that's where LaSalle excels is in execution. And I think Wood is a team that offensively is capable, but I think what happens is sometimes they struggle to find where they're going to get that big basket they need and how they're going to get it.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to say LaSalle as well. You know, Wood is home, so the crowd's going to be nuts, so they've got the advantage there. But I think LaSalle overall is the better team. You mentioned a lot of the good reasons, and Wood has struggled a little bit in league play this year when a lot of people thought they would be maybe 3 or 4 in the league. So I'm going to agree and say LaSalle. All right, final question here, and we'll go to the Interac. Very competitive this year in the Interac, as it usually is. So who will win the Interac? A, Malvern Prep. B, Episcopal. C, Germantown Academy. Or D, other.
I'm going to go with C, Germantown Academy. I'd be surprised if anybody beat them. They have so much talent. Kyle McCluskey is the quarterback for the Patriots. Very good basketball player also. Evan Eric Longino is a really good player. Devin Goodman, who's going to be playing at Penn, is the point guard for GA. He sort of makes everything go for that team. And they have really good complementary pieces too. So there's really no weaknesses to that team. And plus they have that championship pedigree, for lack of a better word. And they're sort of used to winning big games. And I think when it comes down to the gut of ball games, I think they'll call on that experience to pull them through.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to say GA as well. I think overall they are the most talented team. You know, Episcopal has Alakakos, and they might be number 2 in that mix. But I think when it's all said and done, I think GA will win the Interac. So congratulations, Ace. You passed our pop quiz.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back with more here on Varsity Voice, presented by SFBN.
Hi, I'm Marty Bystrom, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. In my experience in Major League Baseball, I know how important it is for high school athletes to gain exposure. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
Hey, you.
Who, me?
Yes, you. Do you like pro sports?
Yeah.
Do you like college sports?
Of course.
Do you like high school sports?
I guess.
Maybe you just don't know much about them.
Hey, voice in the sky.
Huh?
Where can I go to learn more about Philadelphia area high school athletics?
Just watch Varsity Voice every other Wednesday at 6 p.m. on TCN.
Welcome back. There are a lot of great games coming up within the next week. And Frankie, I want to make some predictions on some of those games, although I'm a little bit hesitant, especially because you crushed me during football season.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Don't brag about it too much. All right, so I'm going to give it another shot. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, we're going to start with our SFBN Game of the Week, LaSalle at Archbishop Wood. That's this Friday night. Who do you have, the Explorers or the Vikings?
I have Wood. I think Tommy Funk is going to pull them right past LaSalle and come out with the win at home.
Yeah, they'll have the home court advantage, but I think LaSalle is overall the stronger team. I'm going to stick with the Explorers in that game. Another big Catholic League matchup on Friday, St. Joe Prep versus Roman at a neutral court at Philly U. Who do you got?
I have St. Joe's Prep. I think Coach Speedy Morris is on a great run right now with the team, and I think that they'll be able to come out on top.
Yeah, he really is a great coach and has Prep playing very well, overachieving this year. But I think Roman is going to win this game. You know, they have to prove that they are still one of the top teams in the Catholic League, and a loss to the Prep would be tough for them to get into that top tier. So I'm going to say Roman will rally and win that game. One final big Catholic League game on Friday night, Archbishop Carroll at Conwell Egan.
I have Archbishop Carroll. They're just having too strong of a year right now, and I can't go against them.
Yeah, they really are. You know, head coach Paul Romanchik really having his team play well. Conwell Egan too, but I'm going to say Carroll is going to win that game. They are overall the better team. All right, let's go into Suburban 1 here in a rematch of the quote-unquote headbutt game, Neshaminy at Pennsbury.
Right, I'm going to take Neshaminy. You know, I think their spirits were killed a little bit with that incident, so I think this is a great chance for the team to rally and just to get their motivation back.
Yeah, it's been a tough year for Neshaminy, and Pennsbury, you know, they've had a couple of tough losses, and I think the Falcons are going to win again. They need to get a win to move up in the standings, improve their record a little bit, so I'm going to go with Pennsbury in this one. All right, rivalry game in the Council Rock School District, North versus South. Who do you have?
I'm going to take South. I do know that they're having a tough year this year, but a rivalry game is always great motivation for them to come out on top and to just play their best.
Yeah, they are having a tough year. And Council Rock North, they're actually playing pretty good basketball, and I think they're going to win this game on Friday night and come out on top over their rival. Good Continental Division matchup, Hatboro Horsham at Penridge. This is on February 2nd.
Okay, I'm going to take Penridge, another strong team having a great year. Although these two teams are right next to each other in the standings, I do think Penridge will come out on top.
Yeah, Hatboro Horsham having a decent year in third place right now in that division, but I agree. I'm going to say Penridge will win that game. They are having a very nice year. Another rivalry game here, Cheltenham at Abington on January 30th.
Okay, I know Abington is having a great year, but I'm going to take Cheltenham. I think the young Abington Ghost might overlook Cheltenham's talent.
Yeah, and Cheltenham is having a very good year as well, but I like the Ghosts. They're at home. I think that they pull out the win over their rival in Cheltenham. And then only a few days later, Cheltenham hosts Plymouth Whitemarsh in a big divisional matchup.
Right, I see them taking down the Ghosts, but I do not see them beating Plymouth Whitemarsh.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to say PW wins that game. Xavier Malone, very strong player for the Colonials. And a couple of rematch games here. Coatesville at Downingtown West on February 2nd, which we will, of course, have on SFBN.
I'm going to take Downingtown West. You know, I think Ryan Bentley is having a great year, and I think that they'll be able to just sweep Coatesville right off the court.
Yeah, I think Downingtown West will win that game as well. Will be a very close game, fun atmosphere, but I agree. I think West will win that one. And then finally, a rematch of a game that we had on SFBN, Malvern this time at Episcopal on February 2nd.
Right, this is another great opportunity for a rally and to get revenge. I'm going to take Malvern on top of Episcopal on the road.
Yeah, I think Nick Alakakos and Episcopal a little bit too strong. I think that they are going to win at home and sweep Malvern. So we agree on a few, but disagree on most. I'm a little bit scared. I have a feeling you're going to come out on top again on this.
Time will tell. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yes, we will wait and see. And you know what? We've had a lot of great guests on the show this year, and one of those was John Booker. And unfortunately, earlier this month, Mr. Booker passed away. We take a moment to remember John Booker.
Immediate double team. He puts it up and lays it in for two. University of Pennsylvania, American, Quinnipiac, interested. Gets a handshake. Holding on to the ball. Now a steal at midcourt. Towers. Alakakos, the offensive board, lays it up and in for two. Now he has the ball. How about another slashing effort? Right up and in. Delaney, Alakakos back in. Lays it off. Great look. Nice move. Delaney swoops in and scores. Now pass. Towers tracks it down. Puts up the giant killer off the window and in.
Feels his body. Great shot.
Wolf the other way. Hangs in the air and scores! He wants a triple. Bingo! He's got it straight away. 3-point deficit for Malvern. Into the hands of Powers. Steps around the screen. A long three. Bingo! Has as Episcopal upsets Malvern here on Malvern's home court, 70-69.
Well, that about wraps things up for this edition of Varsity Voice presented by SFBN. And Frankie, even though we sit here and analyze these teams and these games, we're fans as well. And just like David Schilling, the Pennsbury superfan who we heard from earlier.
Yeah, we really are. You know, analysts, fans, either way, we're really excited for the competition that comes out to play.
Yeah, and a couple of games coming up on SFBN should be very exciting as well. Frankie, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me again.
For Frankie Stokes, I'm Ari Bluestein. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Have a good night. Yeah, the LaSalle Wood game on Friday at Downingtown West Coast.
Right.
Select video equipment for Varsity Voice has been provided by DMP Video. DMP Video. You provide the moment, we'll capture the memories. For more information about our videography services, please go to our website at www.dmpvid.com.
The Sports Fan Base Network, this area's leader in high school sports broadcasting, is continually bringing you the most in-depth coverage. Join us for Varsity Voice every other Wednesday at 6 p.m. on TCN, where we'll have interviews with players, coaches, writers, and more, plus analysis, highlights, and in-depth features on major topics in the Delaware Valley high school sports community. Tune in every other Wednesday at 6 p.m. on TCN for the best high school sports show around, Varsity Voice, presented by SFBN.